Hey.
Hey, everybody.
We are, oh, that's dumb. Try that again. Hey.
Hey, everybody.
What the heck was that?
A hummingbird.
Try that again. Hey.
Hey, everybody.
So it is part 2 of our boondocking challenge. I will say it is more of a challenge than we anticipated because our batteries are going to die.
Yeah, they're not holding a charge very well.
Yeah, we usually have them charged up, around dinner time. That's when we run our generator. We'll get them up to 100% or, virtually 100%. And then overnight we'll use, 60 amps, somewhere in that neighborhood, between the refrigerator, watching TV, blah, blah, blah. And the inverter is squawking at us in many mornings that the voltage is low. And you can see, last year we would do that, we'd go to bed, we'd have 12.3, 12.4 volts, which isn't actual voltage, because the battery can't have loads on it and stuff. But it was a rough indicator before we got our battery monitor. Now, it's already at 12. And we've only used, like maybe 25, 30 amps watching TV. So something's going to miss with the batteries.
Yeah, so what we've been doing to compensate for that is we run the generator in the morning. We usually run the generator when we're making dinner. And then about an hour or so, like 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock, whatever, we run it for about another hour, just to hopefully make it so that the inverter stays happy. Although this morning at 7 o'clock, it started giving us an alarm saying...
Yeah, the refrigerator come on at 7 o'clock. Now, of course, it has been colder here. It's been getting down into the mid to low 40s at night, and cold can affect batteries. But it's just, they're going. Just before we filmed this, we ordered 3 Battleborn batteries.
We did, and we paid for them. This is not a sponsored endorsement.
Right, yeah, we did. We paid for them. Yeah,
no.
we're not getting, they gave us a show price.
Yeah.
We called someone we've been talking to before. Gave us a show price. Since we're out of state, we don't have to pay taxes. We needed one other part, the battery isolator. But nevertheless, those are coming.
Yep.
But until then, we're just gonna have to play games with our power.
Yeah.
Which is apropos, since today we are going to talk about power, but we're going to do that inside because that's how we're going to do it. We're going to do the non-update part inside. So as far as how everything else is going, this is day number 10. So we are at well, we've only used a little over a third of a tank of fresh water, so we could probably use a little more fresh water for you.
Yeah.
But the gray tank, we have no idea because it started at 0, went to full, dropped to 2/3, dropped to 1/3, and then back went up to 2/3 again. There's no way it's at 2/3. We haven't even used 40 gallons of fresh water, much less put 40 gallons in it. So we are doing a tank rinse right now. We already put the stuff in, and then when we go dump in a few days, we'll hopefully some gunk will come out. Black tank says 2/3. Last year, we probably could have gone 20 days. This year, probably not so much because we're dumping dishwater and stuff in it.
Yeah, we're putting gray water in there, so I really don't know exactly where that's at either, but we're going to dump it a few days, so it's no big deal.
We're going to leave on Wednesday, I think, so that would be day 12. And Wednesday, a few days before you see this. And then we're going to move. So we'll have tanks and water and all that stuff will be good to go again. Other than that, we've been battling the wind.
Yeah,
it's been windy almost every day. Yeah. You can see now, you might be able to see, it's a little breezy right now, But we've had several days where the winds have exceeded, 15, 20 miles an hour. One day where they were probably pushing 40 miles an hour.
Yeah, we actually had to bring the slide in because the slide topper was just losing its mind out there, and we're not going to take a chance, so we brought the slide in. So yeah, it's definitely been weird, and it's in the 60s again, so we're wearing sweatshirts, and we had a couple of really beautiful days, and then the weather kind of...
It's supposed to rain maybe later today. We didn't believe it because we woke up to no clouds, sunny skies, but now as you can see, it's cloudy, and I probably just screwed up the exposure. So anyway, we're doing good. No real hiccups except for the batteries.
Yeah.
But we're gonna rectify that because we plan to do a lot of boondocking this spring and summer, so we couldn't have waited. We just were like, well, we just have to do it now. And we just got our tax return, and we've been saving money.
Yeah.
By not paying camping fees and stuff like that.
And we knew this was going to happen. I mean, we knew the batteries were getting older, and this has kind of been in the back of our minds. So it is what it is.
So that's pretty much the update. We're going to send you inside now to Inside Dan and Jen, and they're going to talk about how they, and by they I mean us, how we conserve power and use it, and how we go about doing all that stuff. All right, well, thanks, Outside Dan and Jen. We really appreciate all your hard work. If you keep it up, we might let you sleep inside someday. Anyway, for the record, they sleep in the bays in the back there. Anyway, as I said, we are going to talk about power and how we use it and how we recharge our batteries and how we conserve and all kinds of fun stuff like that. So, as a baseline, we have 4 interstate 12-volt batteries, which are dying, as Outside Dan and Jen told you. But we're making do. We're playing some games right now. But we're going to talk like what we do generally. Yeah. We're not going to talk what we're doing right now necessarily. We also have our generator, 5,500 kilowatt Onan Cummins generator, gas generator. And we have 300 watts of solar on top. So we don't have enough solar that we can not use our generator. And there's 2 reasons. One is we just don't have enough solar. We don't generate enough amp hours during the day to replenish all the amp hours we use throughout the day. And the other reason is we're not even getting all those amp hours into our batteries because the way lead acid batteries work. This is not a video about lead acid batteries and how they work, but just know there's an absorption phase, the last 10-15% or so, and the voltage I think goes up, but the amps in go down to almost nothing at the end. So you might be generating 12 amps that are trying to go in the battery, but it's only taking 8 or 6 or 4. We can't do that, so we have to run our generator. Mm-hmm. We usually do that in the morning to replenish what we've used overnight with the refrigerator and all the parasitic, charges.
Actually, just in case you don't know that, we actually do have a residential refrigerator. So we actually have 2 inverters. We have the inverter for the residential refrigerator and an inverter for one of our slides that has the TV and the Blu-ray player and all that. Other than that, when we are boondocking, we don't have power to any of our other outlets other than the slide and the fridge. Which is cool because we can turn off the power to that one slide and conserve energy, especially at nighttime. We turn it off and just leave the refrigerator inverter on. Yeah, instead of all those little parasitic draws, like it's sitting there constantly charging my laptop. Even though it might be at 100%, it's still keeping it there. Just the inverter itself has a couple, an amp or an amp and a half or something. So, and those add up over time. So we turn that one off at night. We used to turn our refrigerator off at night until we got our battery monitor and we could actually see how many amp hours we're using. And we don't need to do that. Mm-hmm. And besides, it usually runs for like 2 or 3 hours straight in the mornings because it's been off all night. It's not necessarily, it might go up to like 42, 43, 44 degrees, which isn't dangerous. But it takes a while to recover that. Instead of just keeping it at that temperature all night. But essentially, that's what we're doing. So we run the generator in the morning, and then we'll also run it, typically we run it around dinner time. Mm-hmm. We used to have enough amp hours in the batteries to sustain us overnight, which means we could watch TV, get on the computer, watch movies, whatever,
at night, you know, keep some lights on, even though we don't keep all of them on. We just keep one or two. So essentially, you know, we just are topping it off in the evenings, get us through the night and everything. That's no longer the case because of our batteries. We're playing games, but we don't need to talk about that because that's not a typical situation. That's typically how we do our day. Yeah. Generator run in the morning. Solar is not only charging our batteries, finishing the charge, but it's also powering everything in the coach, including the residential refrigerator. We do make enough amps, except maybe like, you know, right around the winter solstice. But after like January, we make enough amps to do that. Keep the laptops charged, keep all that stuff going. It'll offset that and even put some into our batteries if they need it, if we didn't get exactly to 100%. And then we'll do the generator run at night, just top everything off. Summertime, it's not that critical because of the sun's up longer.
Yeah, we make really good solar in the summertime.
So yeah, we're making solar longer and more of it. So we don't really have that issue. But you know, in the winter, it's not worth talking about the summer. We're making all kinds of solar and everything's easier in the summer. Yeah. But in the wintertime, like right now in March, it's, you know, it's borderline. By April, May, it'll get to the point where we're kind of, you know, getting ahead of things. It
is significantly better than January when we were boondocking.
Yeah, it was tough in January. We had to run the generator twice a day.
Yeah.
Because we weren't making enough solar to offset the refrigerator and all the other, you know, stuff we were doing. A lot of times when we were out, we weren't out a lot back in January, but when we were, it was cloudy, so we were using lights and we weren't making as much solar. So how do we conserve energy? Well, first of all, our rig is already set up with like LED lights. All of the lights we would normally use are LEDs. Because of that, you know, we can turn on all these lights and they only use a couple of amps per hour, so it's not a significant drain on the battery. As Jan already said, we turn off the unused inverter at night. There's probably a 2 or 3 amp draw on there from the various things that are plugged in to that. Like I said, my laptop and just the inverter itself. 8 hours, 2 amps, that's 16 amps overnight. You know, it's like, why use them if you don't have to? Other than that, I mean, I don't know if we don't do a whole lot to conserve power.
Obviously, we leave lights off. You know, if we leave a room, that's just like from the sticks and bricks too. I mean, at nighttime we typically only have the strip above us on for like ambient light. But yeah, we just don't use a lot of stuff. We know when we're boondocking. We know, you know, we're not going to be using the Instapot or anything like that unless we have the generator on. So because we can't. So.
And I guess that's the message. I mean, you know, there are things you can do. Like I said, if you have incandescent bulbs in your interior lighting, you can swap those out. They make lights that'll fit right into those same lights that you have and really reduce the amount. If you have an old tube TV or even an older LCD or LED TV, getting a newer one. But this is a brand new coach, so everything is super energy efficient. All of our lights are LEDs, blah, blah, blah. So those are things you could do, but things we didn't have to do. Yeah. Honestly, I guess the real message is while we do, you know, do the normal stuff to conserve, turn off lights and, you know, close up the blinds at night to conserve the heat so we don't feel like we need to run the heater and stuff like that. And when we sleep, we can run the furnace. It's loud. It's like a jet engine in here, but
we don't. We just sleep cold.
Yeah, we bought a big comforter. It costs like $150.
Yeah.
But we have a big, nice comforter that is honestly too warm most of the time, but it's nice to have, you know, so when it gets really cold, we can do that. We're not using all those amps. But typically we just do whatever we want. We watch TV for 3 or 4 hours at night. The laptop's up and running most of the day. And one thing is, like, the laptops or the phones or the iPads, things like that, they have their own batteries. Even our AT&T, not router, but the Wi-Fi hotspot we have, it'll run for 24 hours on battery. So a lot of times I want to turn on that inverter that powers all that stuff until like noon. I'll just let those batteries do their thing in the morning, and it saves, especially right now because we're having issues.
Yeah.
that way we're saving those amp hours. But generally we can do whatever we want. And our system is pretty minimal. I mean,
it is.
We have 4 crappy batteries and 300 watts of solar. I mean, it's not, we are definitely not, the hardcore,
No,
boondockers.
I mean, we've seen people that have like amazing solar systems and whole house inverters and things. We don't have any of that, honestly, and honestly, that's not a bad thing. We actually like that we don't have that right now. I mean, if we had more solar, then maybe we'd want more capability, but right now we don't need it.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, we like being in an RV park, like 1,000 Trails or something. It's nice to go there and have power and have water and, not have to worry about all that stuff. But we also like being out boondocking.
Yeah.
And, the more electrical stuff that you run off of your batteries means you have to spend more time and money to recharge them, which is solar.
Yeah.
Or you're running your generator a lot, which also costs money.
Yeah.
And it's like this, it's pretty minimal. I mean, we run our generator for an hour or 2 a day, and to let our solar do it, and we pretty much do whatever we want. We just watch the big ticket items, like the furnace.
Yeah.
We tend not to use that unless we absolutely have to. So, but other than that, I mean, we can do what we want. And that's the message. You can pretty much do this and kind of live like you want, and you don't need to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on batteries and solar and inverters and, a lot of RVs come with the stuff, or you can make do.
The only thing I would highly suggest, though, is get a battery monitor. That has really been an amazing tool for us. We didn't have that last year when we were boondocking, and we do now. And it does make a big difference. Being able to monitor your battery and actually see what your use is and see what your needs are. Because then you're not running your generator needlessly, which we did last year, honestly.
Yeah. They are really helpful, and you can keep track, and then You're like, oh, we use 50 amp hours, so I only have to replace 50 amp hours. I can do that with an hour generator run, and the solar will take care of it, which is kind of what we do. Last year we guessed we did that.
Yeah.
This year we know that's what we're doing. Unfortunately, just about the time we got out here and started boondocking, the batteries started showing that they were not doing their thing. So, whatever. That's life.
That's life. It's all part of the adventure, as Tom likes to say.
But that's kind of how we do things. And like I said, the little ways we can serve, like sleeping cold and turning stuff off that we don't need and things like that. But other than that, we don't really do a whole lot. And again, this isn't boondocking how-to or one-on-one. This is just kind of our experience. Your rig may not be set up like ours, and so you may have differences. Your rig may have a lot more than ours do. Like our friends Todd and Teresa, who had 8 gazillion watts of solar, 800 amp hour batteries, and that's great. We don't have that, so we have to do a little management. Hopefully, the new batteries, the lithium batteries, will allow us to not worry so much about it, because we have more amp hours to play with. They're easier to charge. They're not so finicky about how far you take them down.
We'll have double what we have now.
Now, we might effectively have about 50 or 60 amp hours before our batteries. So, having 300
is going to be amazing.
Usable will be amazing. We don't have to worry so much about charging. We can go for a few days without charging or with minimal solar and not really have to worry about it. So that'll be nice. And we'll talk about that in other videos when we get them, and we'll talk about how they helped us and stuff.
Yeah.
But in any case, that's it. Next week, we're going to talk about water and waste and tanks and all that kind of fun stuff and what we do to conserve on those. And that's probably more so because everyone has those problems.
Exactly.
So we will talk a little more about that whole process and all that. Again, if you have any questions, go ahead and leave those in the comments. I already have a list. We are going to answer pretty much every question we've got so far.
Yay.
A lot of them are really short answers, but we're going to answer pretty much every question we have. But leave yours down there, and we'll in the last week we'll do the Q&A, and hopefully we can help everyone out. So with that, Jen is going to say her thing, and we are going to leave.
So as always, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you so much for all your amazing comments, and definitely leave those questions down there, and we will see you all down the road. Bye-bye.
I hate when outside Dan stares in the window at us. It's freaking me out.